it's nice to be here. My wife and I are the executive directors of OCMA. We've been doing this job for about 7 years, and what that means is Linda does all the work and I get to chauffeur her around. And I stay out of the way. We are retired secondary school mathematics teachers. We taught in Peel District School Board for 20-odd years. We started there in 1976. I retired in 2006. Linda retired in 2009. We also have some experience teaching in the Middle East. We are both authors for the Rock Hill Secondary School Mathematics textbooks. I did the technology portions of about 8 books, Linda did the assessment portions. And I am also a Texas Instruments instructor. I'm not going to hide my allegiances. I go all over North America, and I've been to Saudi Arabia and China doing presentations for Texas Instruments on the use of graphing calculators in secondary school classrooms. The OCMA has a publication called the Gazette. I did a column for that particular publication for several years on the use of graphing calculators and in particular CAS, computer algebra systems. I am an advocate for the use of technology in mathematics. I believe in what Texas Instruments calls the power of visualization. That's a coin that was phrased by Bert Yates and Frank DeMana at the Ohio State University. They were both math instructors down there. In 1989 and then later in 2000, the NCTM, the National Council for Teachers of Mathematics, came out with publications called the Standards. And Ontario adjusted their curriculum in 1999 to accommodate those standards. We are required in our documents to approach problems visually, algebraically, numerically, and analytically. So for me, the use of graphing calculators helps me address those 4 different styles of teaching. We started teaching in 1976, and we both taught a course where we had to teach the basics of trigonometry and logarithms without calculators. It took us about 2.5 to 3 weeks to teach logarithms because we had to use tables and some weird thing called linear interpolation. And I'll bet you if you polled most math teachers in the province of Ontario right now, they wouldn't know what an ordinate and abscissa are. Those are terms that we had to use in those days. So what I wanted to do is take a couple minutes, if possible, to talk about some of the things that I did with graphing calculators in the high school classroom. 10 seconds. I did CAS, I did dynamic geometry, I did dynamic statistics, spreadsheets, and I generated functions using sets of data so the kids didn't come back and say, where are we ever going to use this crap?
Thank you. Tracy?
Correct.
Great. Okay. One mic or two?
If you can hear me, I don't need a microphone.
Yeah.
Are we good? Can you hear me back? Is that okay? I don't think it means that's okay. Is it alright if I sit down? I'm going to say skydive because now I broke my foot just in case anybody asks. We'll go with that. Okay, calculator debate. I was approached to talk against. You can hear me now? Okay. As college math educators in this room, we all face very similar challenges regardless of what college we teach at, what program we are in. We seem to universally face students that come to us with weak foundational skills, with math anxieties and math phobias, with students who do not fully engage in our curriculum. It can be agreed that electronic calculators factor into these challenges to varying degrees in both positive and negative ways. In preparing for the against side of the debate, which is use of calculators in all math classes, I started really basic by just looking up some definitions. To calculate, to ascertain by computation, to make an estimate or evaluate, to suppose or guess, to perform a mathematical process. A calculator, 2 definitions. The first definition being a person who calculates or computes. Second definition, an electronic device calculations. The last definition I looked up was enabler. Something or someone that makes it possible for a particular thing to happen or be done. An electronic calculator is a tool, and in itself it is neither good nor bad. It is just a tool. But it's a tool that needs to be an extension of previous knowledge and not a replacement for it. Students need to have basic computational skills before they should be using calculators. These skills include facility in arithmetic, a solid understanding of place value, the ability to estimate and check, and the ability to reason and evaluate. In short, to be numerate. As teachers, we're supposed to be enablers that contribute to the success of our students, enablers of the best kind. That means recognizing when calculators are appropriate. Use of calculators before adequate numeracy skills are in place makes us enablers of the worst kind. We foster a generation of students who arrive at answers without thinking, who are distracted by technology that actually interferes with their computational skills. For students who cannot understand, duplicate, or even remember a solution to a problem after they copy it down from an electronic device, who rely on trial and error methods for solving problems, and who generally abuse calculators at the expense of their own understanding. Mathematics education requires time spent on numeracy processes and skills. That is where calculators are required, or not required. Concepts, problem solvings, and interconnections with math and other disciplines, that would be an area where calculators would be useful. We are definitely against the use of calculators in those early phases of learning, which we are definitely involved with in college.
Thank you, Tracy.
I'm on the pro side. So, calculators, I'm talking pro calculator. Why? Hey, it's 2017. Come on, guys. What are we talking about? Why are we having to go back to pencil and paper? Our students have been given a calculator in grade 5 and used them since then. Why are we stopping now? At the college level, aren't we supposed to focus on concepts and not calculation? Problem-solving skills are way more important than computation skills. So my wife the other day is measuring how much water is in the watering can for the garden, and she came up with 80 liters. That was her computation. Was that right or wrong? One of my students was asking me about a rectangle, and my question was to compute perimeter. Are you supposed to add things or multiply them? Calculators are the way to provide access to more complicated math, and that's what college math courses are about. Check out the location of a local maximum or a minimum. That's what calculators can do. Check out the table of values around those points. That's what calculators are for. Check out a table of values as a graph approaches a limit. Calculators can do that really easily. Given the accessibility of calculators, they're easily available on any job, anywhere. Just imagine if you're up on a roof and you need to add 5 9/16 plus 4.5 inches. Isn't your wrist calculator right there, ready to add those numbers together? For students with poor computational fluency, which is most of our students, calculators fill the gap and give them more confidence. They're going to reduce inaccuracies. So to me, calculators are the way to go. No fights, we're going to focus on concepts, and we're going to get to where we want to go, the objectives of the course.
Hello everybody. So, humor is good, but what does research say? calculator is in itself is a tool, as was said, but when it replaces the knowledge, that's one of the problems. Calculator can be used after the students already have mastered something, right? So then they can use calculator to progress to harder topics. Here are the 10 reasons for against calculator. So students do not gain understanding of the structure of the phenomenon. Students do not know if mathematical process can be altered safely for application. Students become platform calculator made for battery dependent. Students' mathematical anxiety raises when they encounter a problem and a specific calculator is not readily available. So it was said that confidence raises with calculator. Of course it does. If you have a palm truck, you will be confident, right? But if you don't have a palm truck, you will not be confident to lift something, right? At the end of the day, why do we go to a gym if we have palm trucks? We want to be strong. The same thing, we want to know some basic mathematics without a calculator to feel ourselves strong. Students' erroneous beliefs towards mathematics as a black box of mysterious strict rules is enhanced. I will be talking about students' beliefs tomorrow, so if you want to come by, and erroneous beliefs towards mathematics actually are very detrimental to students' performance. And when students always uses calculator, they actually think that mathematics is just a rule which is somewhere there inside a calculator. I have students who always tell me that a logarithm is just a button on the calculator. So students' negative beliefs towards mathematical ability, their mathematical ability is not addressed since they bypass this personal problem by using calculators. Students don't know what they're capable of, they just use a calculator. Students do not enjoy mathematical problem solving and do not develop mathematical creativity through constructive activities. Students are not ready for numerous professional exams after they graduate, which do not allow calculator use. Students do not gain the foundation to continue their quantitative education at master's level, for example, where they will be part of courses which will require them to know something without
So I have trouble making up my mind after listening to you guys, that's for sure. It's terrific. Time for our second vote. So, can we get our counting people to the front, please? And pro-calculator use in the classroom will be the first thing we vote on. So we'll have a show of hands. Pro. Pro is first. Good. Okay. Against calculator use in the classroom. The head counter is not using a calculator. Okay.
So we've got 25 pro and 34 are against, which is quite a change from previously, which was 34 and 25 against.
Okay, the next part of the debate, we'd like to hear from you, from the audience. So we'd like to have a pro comment first and then an against comment. And we'll go back and forth that way. We'd like to give you about a minute and a half to speak. So the pro people, who would like to go first? Don't all rush up. Okay, the first person to go gets a free drink at 5 o'clock. No, I'll right here is good.
Okay, so I teach with calculators because as Don said, it's 2017, and people are going to have access to these devices in the workplace anyway. The one way that I qualify it though is that I have about 5 or 6 marks per question, and if you can use the calculator and get the right answer, you get 1 mark. The rest of the marks, if you show me how you actually figured it out. Part of the skill of learning how to use the calculator, I find that this is not a giveaway. That many students that are struggling don't even attempt to use the calculator because they want to know how to do the problem and get all the marks. The calculator is just sort of the icing on the cake. That it's a way to check your answer, but usually it's the students that already know how to do it that take the time to go the extra mile and learn how to use the calculator. Thanks.
Thank you. We have a pro side, and now we need an advanced.
So for instance, Kathy said they will have them in all workplaces, and I would be hard pressed to find an emergency room nurse having to dose a patient who's in some sort of arrest, having to pull up a calculator to find out the actual dosage. So there are going to be situations that there will be calculators not permitted, and those vocational experts need to have that skill. So in some sense, there's a false dichotomy that is either yes, everyone has calculators, or everyone doesn't have calculators. And because of that, I have to say no, we can't have everyone having calculators, which I think means I'm against. Anyway, that's all.
Thank you. Okay, pro? Sure. Pro's next.
Just a little. My impression is that the idea is that we can only encourage numeracy and encourage